All right, we are live. All right, all you freedom loving boys and girls, whomever you are, wherever you are on this glorious big blue marble of a planet we call Earth. Yeah, I'm getting a little better at that. Mark, Centerline Systems, welcome to the live stream. Tonight's live stream is going to be kind of fun. Well, that just sounded so horrible. It's going to be kind of fun. It's also going to be kind of miserable, however you want to say it. No, we're going to have fun with tonight's live stream. So I'm going to show off a new product. I'm going to talk about a couple things that we got coming up, the live stream on Saturday. Dang it. Well, maybe I'll do this one. Yeah. And then I've got a guest coming on. That's what I'll do. I'll run and grab this other thing I forgot to have ready over here. And then I got a guest down there. He was having some difficulties, but we're going to jump kind of right into it. As always, just killing a little bit of time. We got Gene from across the pond. Big woo. Snowshoe Dave checking in, saying hi to Gene. Big Visk checking in over on Rumble. Awesome. All right. I like to see the Rumble coming, right? And then Gene just asking everybody, how's it going, right? All right. On that note, we're going to kind of dive into it. So again, format-wise, I got a little bit of housekeeping and showing off a new product. I'm going to do that here for the next about 5-10 minutes. Then I'm going to bring on my really good friend and colleague over on Millstone SRG. We're going to talk a little bit about preparedness, especially in light of everything that's going on. And then I'm going to end it with a little bit more housekeeping and talking about what we got coming up here in the next week, some other videos. So on that note right here, first and foremost, all right, that was my bender saying meat bag. So I'm going to show it off right now. David, Cool TV, how you doing? Hey, I got your email. We're open right now, my good man, just to kind of know if that's what you were kind of shooting for, but the next business day, here, I'll just start with there. The next business day tab is up and functioning on the website. I did a standalone video on that yesterday. The website did break earlier today. Thank you very much to John, who called me up and talked to me. I was asking some stuff about the custom, but through that conversation, realized that the products had reverted back to their old kind of status. And then I had to go back in and bring those back to life on the next business day. So if you were looking for a mother and a mud flap earlier today, look, I mean, I assume all responsibility. It's my business, but yeah, just technology, and it just turned itself off from inventory or something stupid. So, but anyway, that's back up and running now. So thanks to John, and actually, which is a huge shout out to all you great guys and gals. It's just great conversation and questions led to this, led to that, and then led to me realizing that the website had broken earlier today, but it's back up and running right now. And so here, before I show off the meat bag, Gene, bend it. Yeah, this guy actually is really cool, Gene. Not going to go through all of them. Yeah. Yeah. So there's, anyway, that, just a stupid little toy, but tons of fun, and he's got some good classic Bender comments. Hey, but just a real quick kind of piece of housekeeping, like I said, as I'm bringing, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Right. But so this is how we're doing the utility pouch going forward. And I'm working with Alex from Alex Messenger Photography. This was how we did it originally. And I'm trying to find some of the original photos. We can't find the folder. So when we open up for custom orders on Monday, it might just be, and then it'll probably be this way on the meat bag too. I'll show you that in a second, but it'll probably just be some of the crappy photos that I take with my phone on the website until we either can get some of these made and then Alex can take new photos, or we find our old photos and get those back up here, because the only difference between this version and the old one is we're not going to have that belt channel. The Molly itself can be woven into a belt channel. But here's what's cool. Let me just kind of, huge shout out to Mark, aka Valley Reb. Great guy. He's over on Instagram, takes very cool pictures, does a lot of reenacting that 1700s. I really love that period in time. Does a lot of that. But a few months ago, he had a photo just kind of giving the origins of the meat bag. He had posted a photo and it had a piece of my gear on it, kind of wrapped in with this other piece of gear. And I'm like, And I direct message him. I'm like, dude, what the hell is it? That's really cool. And he's like, oh, it's a World War I food bag. I'm like, what the hell? I've never even heard of this piece of kit. So he sent me a World War I and a World War II bag. You've already kind of heard the story. And we created the meat bag. Now, I'm going to do a standalone kind of loadout video on this tomorrow. I just kind of want to, I'll show some off. We just did our, kind of our timing, running some colors, but just wanted to point out. So kind of the legacy and, and honestly that the World War I and World War II, their flaps had more of a rounded thing. So this is still in line with that. Obviously they didn't have Molly and Velcro. The real only difference between this and the real World War II is, again, adding the Molly on the back, and on the, the bottom, and so you can use it a lot differently, but dimension wise, sidewise. And then we squared this off. And when I do the loadout video tomorrow, I think you'll enjoy it because there's a reason why this is better than the rounded bottoms, because you just can't store as much as effectively when it's rounded like that. Right. So getting the square here, I'm kind of cheating already. It's a meat bag, right? I wish I could be grouse hunting right now because I already know how I would use this for grouse hunting. But, I'm sure you guys have seen these little dudes, and I'll have this shown like how this stacks. And because it's, again, think of picnics. If you want to use it that way, think of taking out hunting, couple things, a black box, you and your girl are going out. You got a sleeve of crackers, a sleeve of Thuringer or, summer sausage, a couple things of wine, over the shoulder, on your belt, attached to something else, put it inside of your ruck. This would go really nice inside of our little ruck. That's going to be coming up too. So, and shoulder strap, it's not going to come with the shoulder strap. You'll have to add on. And I'll do, like I said, I'll do more of that in the stand on, because not everybody wants the shoulder strap. So when I do the standalone video on this tomorrow, I'll explain more of that. But, and if we get 9 out of 10 people buying a shoulder strap, well, then we'll make it as shoulder strap, right from the very beginning. Here, sorry, I just saw that comment. Thanks, Gene. Yeah, like a Polish bread bag. Yeah, so again, that's kind of where it's coming from. Like our versions of those bread bags and food bags back in World War I, World War II, kind of like what you're talking right there. And we got Andrew Stuff showing up there. Hey, all right. Yeah, so this one I had a little bit of ATAX AU lying around. So I just used, that material up. And I'll talk about more of that when we go into our custom side. There's an internal slip pocket in there and a little D-ring for your keys. Like I said, I'll save that for the actual video. But the other cool thing about it is, yeah, right there. So our new, going back to the original version of the utility pouch, if you got your own pouch, you'll be able to put stuff, but that attaches just perfectly up on the front side. The lid actually still opens. I'm just holding it. It would be actually probably right about there. Yeah. So anyway, and the lid would still open. So again, just for me, I'd put some extra shotgun shells in here. I'd have a smaller bottle of water in there. I'd have like a sandwich, and then I'd have a bunch of plastic bags. If I bagged a grouse, boom, 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 grouse inside the plastic bag, just the breast, just throw it right back in here and over the shoulder. It's a really awesome size. Anyway, we'll have more of that in a video. I'm going to shoot that video tomorrow. Knock on wood. We'll see how my mobility is going. By the way, just one more huge shout out to everybody who's been wishing me well and asking questions. So and then that's my last comment. And then Blake, if you're about ready down there, well, actually, yeah. I'm going to do one last thing, but then I'll bring you on. But so next week was going to be my two friends. We were going to talk about the VA. One of them can't make it, so we're going to slide right. So that the VA episode about VA healthcare will be on the 24th of October. And the moment as we're talking to VA healthcare, I just don't know how I'm not going to unfortunately bore you guys with my personal story and everything that's going on. So yeah, not that you need to know what's going on with me, but I'll end up having to talk about that on Thursday, the 24th. And that'll be with Chappie and Tom. And then maybe some other stuff will coming up between now and then. And then before I bring on Blake here, so multicam black meat bag with Ranger green snaps. Hey, this guy I'm about to bring on does all the Cerakoting here. Hey, Fog Firearms. That's a black. Then our classic Ranger green and Coyote brown. This is like one of our main photo ones with all the little arrows. Matter of fact, Mark helps me with those. Valley Reb, that's really nice of them. And wolf gray and black, right? So I really like this size. It just rides so nicely on the hip. Oh, I just think you guys are going to love it. I hope you love it. I'm, hey, if nothing else, I got mine, right? Type of thing. So Andrew's saying that meat bag looks good. You are correct, sir. All right. Hey, Blake, speaking of meat bags. Well, okay. Last question. Gene, no Nemesis, not yet. I've got to order more Nemesis. I've got some Nemesis left, but I need to make a ruck out of it. So there will be it. Oh, here, I guess I'll just give you the heads up. So right now on the next business day, if you didn't see that video, it's in black. But next week, the next business day will be all in Nemesis. And then once that is gone through, for a week of the next business day, then that following week, I'll have Nemesis up on the website as a standard custom order right there. I want to give everybody a chance to get some things in Nemesis first. Then once we get rid of that inventory, then it'll just be an option over on the custom side when we do that. Last comment, got to build a combo bag, and that might be a good option. I'm here to tell you, just again, by squaring it off and not having those rounded bottoms, so I don't know if you're running a 152 or what kind of handheld or whatever you're doing, but bricks, your battery packs, all that stuff, it's going to fit in there. And when I do the video tomorrow, I already got a bunch of props over right in front of me here as a reminder to take them with. I think you'll be able to see a lot of that. So yeah, how you use that bag, the meat bag. And I just, and a joke, there's a really good guy on Instagram. He's a good customer. He's really funny. He said, "Hey, nice satchel." No, it's not a satchel. Don't call it a satchel. It's the meat bag, period. Just the meat bag, not a satchel, not a satchel. All right, Blake, I see you laughing, and that's not a good thing because that's a good thing because we're going to talk about something serious. You ready to come on? Give me a thumbs up. All right, boys and girls, if you watch our Millstone Self-Reliance Group live streams and videos that we've done over there, this is Blake. You may recognize him. Great guy, great friend, my partner over there on Millstone. Blake, why don't I'm just going to turn it over to you. Hey, first, let's do a sound check because you had that sound.
Yeah, I was just going to check. I got my audio.
Your sound is still dead.
Suck.
I know. Okay.
All right, give me 1 minute.
Well, people can see by your gestures what you're saying, but no one can hear what you're saying. Yeah, you're muted right now. It says you're muted. Now, right now, it says you are muted. Now it says you're unmuted.
How about now?
Nope. Not picking you up. Well,
Sorry.
we might just forego Blake.
Yeah.
Well, or log out and come back in because, really you're just having an issue with your oh, hang on. Gene is saying he can hear you. Gene, are you seriously? You can hear him?
Oh, can you guys all hear me?
Hey, Blake, it might be on my side. Everybody else is saying they can hear you. Why can't I hear you?
I tell you what, this age technology. Am I right, guys?
That is the weirdest thing in the world. Why can't I not hear him? Way to go here, boys and girls. I tell you what, while Mark's taking a look then. Hey, good evening, everybody. So, Blake, just real quickly, this will be funny because I cannot hear you. Why would that be?
Blame Biden.
Why would I not be able to hear you?
I agree, Gene. He's manipulating the entire interwebs.
Well, hey, so I'll tell you what. I got to just do this real quickly. Gene says we should blame Biden for it. That's probably pretty true. Okay, so we had a bunch of comments come in. Blake, just give me a second. I'm going to let you talk, but let me just get caught up, and then I'm going to go back in on my side. Maybe it's something with on my end, but as far as I'm seeing, I should be able to hear you. So, but I'll let you talk here in a second because I know what you're going to say. All right, so everybody's caught up on comments. So just last comment. Andrew saying he's looking to a Scout, Sherpa, and Y harness. Yep, that's all up on there on the belt side. VTech Moonwalker. You had sent me an email, by the way, sir. I got to get back to you. I actually have a couple of videos out that show the difference between the original mother and the mod Deuce that we're running right now. So yes, the new version mother, the mod Deuce, is slightly larger than the one that you purchased, the original mother. There already are a couple of videos that really highlight that difference. And it's really weird. Just even like a 2-inch difference in height, it allows for carrying so much more gear. All right. And then everybody else is saying they got you except me, Blake. So, hey, on that note, I'm going to bring you full screen so no one sees me kind of dicking around here. I'm going to let you talk. I'll watch, explain who we are, what we're trying to do over on Millstone, and why that's important. And then I'm going to go in and see if there's something on my settings that's preventing me from hearing you real quickly. So I'm going to bring you full screen, sir. You got the show.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. So if you've tuned in over on the other channel, Millstone SRG, kind of know what we're about. But for those of you that don't, I'll kind of lay it out real quick. SRG stands for Self-Reliance Group, and really our big focus is to try to share skills and different information that can maybe help you in either a disaster situation, whether man-made, natural, or otherwise. And Mark wanted me on tonight because, you know, if you've been paying attention here recently, there's a plethora of different situations to choose from where preparation is really going to be an advent to your family. You know, so here, look at last night, we had Milton, and before that was Helene. Both two very major tropical events that happened down south. The one in North Carolina and Tennessee is they're already saying 1,000-year storm. I've watched a lot of footage on there, over 25-foot storm surge in certain areas down the river. I mean, these poor people were destroyed. And when you're left in a situation like that, and some of you maybe are in that situation right now, you know, preparation is going to be the key to either survival or just easing the suffering that you're going through. You know, so it's a big thing to focus on the basics, obviously. And we talked about this extensively over the last several episodes before we started talking a little bit about current events because of what's going on in the world. But food, fire, water, shelter, shoot, move, communicate, and medicate, you know, and having a focus on these sorts of things are going to allow you to at least be a little better prepared for any circumstance that may happen. We don't necessarily know what tomorrow holds, but we do know that if we prepare for X, Y, and Z, we have a better chance at potentially being able to prepare for the unforeseen things. You know, on top of that as well, on the man-made side, you know, we were just facing a recent port shutdown that took place. Luckily was taken care of relatively soon, but the entire eastern seaboard and Gulf was shut down, which would have shut off basically the entire tap to European supplies. So having any forecasting where you're looking at, okay, is there something that I can only acquire from an overseas market? And do I need to actually have a little bit of a stockpile on this? Medication, you know, trying to look and see, is there an ability to actually have a few months backlog on, because we can't predict what the future holds and we can't predict, you know, how awry things will go. I think if you got eyes to see and ears to hear right now, you realize that there's some great turmoil in this world. I personally believe that historians will look back in the next few generations and say that we are currently in another global conflict. And I think that we're seeing that second theater open up right now in the Levant. So there's a lot going on at this moment, a lot of very, very serious events. And I think the more prepared we can be, the better off we are. Mark, do you got me, bud?
Yeah, for some reason, this is going to be a little bit weird because I normally don't like doing this with headphones on. But once I plugged in my headphones, I can hear you. So I don't know if something just shit the bed on my new mic or what just happened there, but it's never been a problem before, but something just kind of failed. But we're back up and running right now. So as long as I don't sound weird, because I sound weird to myself right now.
You sound crystal right now, bud.
Oh, crystal? All right. Crystal meth or crystal clear? Which one is it?
Well, it depends. Are we marching to I'm not even going to say that. Never mind.
So I unfortunately didn't hear what you're saying, but I kind of, you know, again, I know the gist that you were kind of talking about everything that's going on, right? And that people just need to be kind of a little bit more focused on preparedness and self-reliance. Is that kind of what you were doing?
Absolutely, Mark. Just as a little kind of recap, we were talking about the natural events that just took place. We were also talking about the port shutdown and just a really more of a focus on preparedness in your stocks and your consumables, and really just trying to augment those abilities as best as possible. So,
well, you know, and I kind of want to add to this, you know, I don't know where preparedness became a dirty word, right? You know, I think I know why, because, you know, obviously evil, the powers that be, don't want people being prepared. They don't want you having chickens. You know, if you're in the UK, Gene, you can chime in on this. Like, you've got to register your chickens. You know, like, what the fudge are you talking about?
Since that just came up, I have got to give it mad props to you guys over there, Gene, for registering your roasted chickens from the store. Because apparently y'all crashed the system and it's backlogged right now. So that was an awesome move.
That Yeah, yeah, and everybody just clearly started having fun with that, like
Yeah, dude. And that's the most potent way of
Yep.
revolting against a system that wants to put the boot on your neck is comedy, levity, mock their system. Yeah, I got chickens, they're broasted. I'm gonna register my 17 broasted chickens I just picked up at, I can't remember what the name of the place, Costco, right?
Yeah, Costco, yeah, something like that. But so wherever it became a bad, again, I think I know, and like over here on Centerline, I bring on guests, but this is what we do over on Millstone. We already had one question. Do we have anything on commo? Yeah, actually. So we brought on two guys, talked about emergency commo. That video didn't go as well as I would have hoped it would have. But we'll do that again. These are two ham guys. We taught a class the first 72 hours, and there's a whole section there on commo because it was really food, fire, water, shelter, shoot, move, communicate, medicate. So obviously communicate. So yeah, Andrew, to your question right there. We don't have a website to your question, Andrew. Check out really right now. We're just Millstone-SRG. And you can find us where you get your social media. Again, I don't know if you mentioned this, Blake. Apologize if you already said this, but Twitter/X, Rumble, and ScrewTube. We publish all of our stuff over there, and we have an Instagram account. We haven't really done a whole lot with that, just because Instagram is Instagram. And
yeah, I didn't want to jump in front of you because I knew you were going to read comments, but yeah, we're going to kind of keep expanding that, and maybe eventually we will get that. But yeah, the hope is to really give those classes that you can kind of dig into a little bit and get some good information and at least get some jumping off points. So.
And did you mention our intent right now for the next 30 days?
So, briefly, again, I didn't want to talk too much about it just since you're off getting the thing. I figured we could kind of chit chat about it. But the goal is over the next 30 days, or actually I think we're at 25 now, is really to focus on current events, just because there's not a lot a fella can do at this moment other than just kind of pay attention and keep your fingers on the pulse and try to figure out what's going on. If something catastrophic does happen, come here in November, we're all kind of already locked into where we are. Keep your hands inside the ride, as it were. So
So the title of our last 4 episodes between now and the election is hands inside the ride, because you're no matter what. So again, you've heard me say it over here in Centerline. I mean it with all my heart. I don't give a shit if you're a Democrat, Republican. I mean, I don't care who you vote for. That's your right. You don't even have to talk about it. I mean, I do care about our country and I care about the future of the world. And I've got my own personal opinion on the chances, the odds that we can pull this off, and so but to Blake's point, no matter who wins, if there's even an election come November, and right now somebody say that's crazy. Really? You think so? I mean, evil's not hiding its intentions right now. So that for me, why I wanted to talk about preparedness and self-reliance a little bit tonight is because no matter what happens going forward, if one side wins, there's most likely going to be like ensuing violence and, and gridlock and all kinds of shit at the governmental level. And if another side wins, well, then it's going to be censorship. And then, they're going to really turn it on. Right. And, and look at, and I'm not just the only person saying it, everybody used to love Elon Musk until he bought Twitter and then made it free speech again. But here's Elon Musk, coming around and saying, hey, look, if one side wins, this is probably the last election because they will seal it. And you can go into the conspiracy theory, tinfoil hats, say that Mark and Blake and everybody who listens to them are crazy. You can do that all you want at your own peril. And I think what Blake and I are really just trying to drive home here tonight is no matter what. And then if you just take a step back and look at natural events. So over on Millstone, we actually talked about a couple different scenarios that you might want to consider in your preps, or what is driving your thought process, and then how to examine that thought process. And, unless you are Elon Musk, most of us have limited time and limited resources. So you have to focus your time and energies, and here on Centerline Systems, selfishly, I make outdoor gear. I think no matter what this future looks like, because even if one side wins and you say, oh, it's my side and our side's going to make the world a better place. Well, whatever that better place is going to take, depending on what you mean by better place. But if we try to pull our heads out of our 4th point of contact, I mean, you're looking at a minimum of 6 years. Yeah. I mean, no one even wants to talk about our fiduciary, our debt here in America, inflation, our national debt. if that isn't controlled, I mean, you're an idiot if you think we're still going to be okay a year from now if we don't get this debt and our burgeoning government and our wasteful spending under control, then it's going to get out of control really fast. So having some good gear, having that mindset, and quite honestly, of course, I want you to buy my gear, but get some gear because you might actually need to get out and start really relying on it. Look, camping, hiking, fishing, hunting, all of this stuff, getting outside, it's better for your soul. It's better for your physical fitness, but it's also something that you might actually be using to put food in your refrigerator. I just showed the meat bag. Well, that would be a great foraging bag around the campsite. Like, oh, there's some blueberries. So I'm going to empty that thing out and I'm going to go throw blueberries in there or raspberries or tinder for making my fire. Or like I said, for me, I'm just going to have a sandwich and a water bottle in there, some extra shells, maybe a choke, depending on different choke for my shotgun, depending where I'm hunting. And then every time I'm getting a grouse, I'm just, breasting it and throwing it in there, and it's just a great size for doing that while I'm getting exercise walking on a trail and I'm putting some, good protein in my refrigerator. Mm-hmm. Blake, you want to add anything to that right there? Or,
Well, I mean, that really is what it's about. And that's kind of one of the things we really want to take some special attention to in Millstone is not just the cool guy kinetic aspect of things, which I know that sells, people love it, but it is that putting food on the table, breaking bread, building community, and these are the tools that if you really want to get down to it, you don't have to look at things like this grand conspiracy that there's a cabal out there, there's powers that be that are trying to overthrow everything. Whatever you believe is irrelevant to that point. We can look at the economic crisis. We can look at the immigration crisis. We can look at the weather issues we're having. We can look at all of these various events that are going on, the wars overseas, the tensions, the gang warfare popping off in our cities. And these all lead to a precipice. So whether it's manipulated to get to that point or not is irrelevant to the fact that these are events that are taking place and people are worked up into a fever pitch right now. So having a little extra supplies, knowing your neighbors, having that community, that's really going to be what sees us through this, because that's what's seen humanity through every time in the past that it's allowed the beacon of civilization to be passed on to the next generation. So that's really, to me, the core focus is how do we build this community? How do we pull together, assist each other, and actually move into the next day? Because, our ancestors have seen this too. We can get through this and we can keep advancing. But anyway, I digress.
Well, if you don't mind, keep digressing. That's a good digression. I thought I had my headphones resolved for a second, but I guess I didn't. But
gotcha. It looks like you're just on the DJ circuit. It's a good look.
Yeah. So. But back to your point, though, again, you kind of I don't want to say you skimmed over it. I don't think we want to make light. I mean, there's over 200 people dead, from Helene, but minimum, right?
Minimum, and we don't know, and probably will never know. I mean, and that's the thing. This is such this reshaped the terrain of North Carolina and parts of Tennessee. I mean, it was catastrophic. And, you don't need to go into the extra things that are happening in the post to know that this is a huge loss of human life. It'll take a generation to rebuild that region. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you don't need to have the A-bombs fall or a war start in your backyard to have to deal with this level of catastrophe. That's going to take a long time. So, and the problem is too, it also does highlight that no matter how busily we prepare, sometimes Mother Nature just kind of slaps us in the face and goes, tough titties. And that's where community comes in, because sometimes maybe your fuel depot does get wiped out, or your food supply gets rancid because of mice, or who knows what. But sometimes you need to lean on others. And that's not necessarily a collectivist in the sense, like the bad sense of the term collectivism. This is what it's always been about, this community, this fostering relationships and helping each other out. It's what has allowed us to build the nations the way we have. It's what's allowed us to advance civilization, to gain these technologies. So, but the thing is too, is as we've grown as a more complex society, we've gotten away from the true sense of community, that knowing your neighbor and breaking bread with them kind of mentality, that actually, knowing the people in your community that can pull together and, maybe go clear that road that just got washed out, or you have the assets to be able to rally enough equipment to go take care of these problems. If you just try to solely do this by yourself, you will fail.
So I'm back on track. Can everybody hear me still?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, so for out of whatever reason, just out of nowhere, then the speakers just started working.
Gremlins in the machine, man.
Yeah. But hey, but to your point, and then there are already a couple comments that go with that, and I just want to like double down on what you just said. And I can't remember what movie this is. It was from, I think it may have been from The Walking Dead. I'm not 100% sure, but there was a line in some movie or show along that ilk that said, and this is just a truism, that if you've ever been in the military, if you've ever done, combat ops or any type of team effort, like you're successful when there's a group of you, right? But, the line was, ain't no one doing this by themselves, or ain't no one getting out alive by themselves, something along that line. And I just wanted to bring that up because, Blake, that's, your point. You could have 100 people that don't want to fight the bear, but you got 10 people who want to fight the bear, the lion, however you want to say it. Well, that's that one is better than 99 who don't want to. So maybe on that sense, you can maybe do some things by yourself. But the reality is there's just too much heavy lifting. There's too much tasks, and it's just not as much fun. And we're human beings. We need to have that kind of interaction with other people. Is that a fair way of kind of going at it?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why, the two of the things that we've talked about before, and I kind of like these sayings, I say them to my customers when they come in and we have these conversations, is you got to build your tribe. You got to build your clan. You got to have those people you can lean on. The other thing is too, is, you got to adopt the Great Depression mindset because we're in one. We're really in those level of times. I mean, these are the moments we're living in right now are the moments historians will write volumes about. And that's not an understatement.
Nope, it is not. And there was a really funny meme the other day. I can't remember, probably on Twitter. And it was, a young lady just kind of looking all vacant, and like this. And there was like a grocery bag in front of her. And she was like, it was something like, $130 for 3 bags of groceries. That gets me 3 days worth of food, ... Tell me again how abortion is the most, pressing issue in the nation right now. It's like, dude, people are fucking struggling just to put food on their tables. Yeah,
dude, eggs are $4 to $5 a dozen again, which is insane. And that's the thing. It's this is how silly this is. But I was crunching numbers on dishwasher detergent today, and moving from the pods to just the old school powder, you save literally, I believe it's 4/5 of your bill. I mean, it's a fifth of the price if you go back to detergent, which it works better anyway. There's like those little things, but you can stretch only so far. You still have to be able to go out and take some animals out of the forest. Which the one thing I am going to say, Mark, is you should definitely keep the whole grouse. You talked about breasting them out. That make the best stock, man, with the rest of them. So,
So again, and just. Well, see, we could go down a whole nother conversation, but let's save that for Millstone.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
just even looking at things like, you just mentioned eggs. Hey, it's almost $5.50 to $6 for a loaf of bread. Time to start making your own bread. And even if that's just a skillet bread or the thing. So this is what we talk about over on Millstone. This is kind of was the whole genesis, the impetus behind it. We were going down that road, and then shit just got really crazy. And so it's not that we're taking a pause, but as Blake said earlier, again, if you've got the time and the resources, there's a lot that you can still do. There's still a lot that you can do, but the harsh reality is, look to your, immediate survival needs. Make sure you've got, food, water, batteries, consumable, that kind of stuff. But other than that, there's probably not a whole hell of a lot. Go out there, brush off some of those skills. And I'm going to, matter of fact, there's couple comments that came in about this as well. Brush off those skills, make sure they're fresh in your mind. Do your rehearsals with your family, at least a table talk, a tabletop exercise, a verbal exercise. But that's really about all you can do. Otherwise, hands inside the ride, because we're in the churn, as Blake and I like to say, another line from a movie, and there just ain't no. You're just riding it and to see what this is going to look like, come, 30 to 180 days. So
I think that's important. Like, you still every day, like, let's say, and we talked about this in the last podcast. C.S. Lewis is he actually wrote a letter, I believe it was to one of his frat brothers, if I remember correctly, talking about where will the atomic age find us, where will the bomb find us. So the basic principle is, will it find us cowering in the corner, or will it find us at the pub shooting darts and drinking beer and having fun and breaking bread? And I think that, for me at least, it's important, even if we are facing such monumental times, that every day we still take a step forward, do a little more preparation, develop that skill a little bit more, try to move the ball forward a little. Because as long as we keep doing that, and the whole rest of the world could be falling apart, but our little local area will be pretty stable. And if we can,
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. But we can expound upon that idea, and we can make these little pockets of advancement still. We can help each other out and whatnot. No.
Yeah. And so just a couple quick comments. Andrew saying this, kind of going back to about not quite 10 minutes ago. He was saying in his opinion, we need to mock them. Because they take themselves way too seriously while we don't take ourselves seriously enough. I agree. Look, in mockery, I'm not espousing violence or anything like that. So don't anyone interpret it like, oh, these guys are saying this. No. But, like, there needs to be mockery. I've been kind of like having fun with my, kind of close friends and relatives who I know which way they voted. And I said, yeah, you're the cause of this. And I just say it to them. And they just look at me like, what? I'm like, you voted for this shit, dude. Like, do you hate Orange Man so bad? What is that? Cutting off your nose to spite your face. What do you say? So, Andrew, I kind of agree with you. Like, yeah, you guys were blinded. You were yelling at each other and saying that people should lose their jobs or be thrown in concentration camps because they weren't getting the pokey poke. Where are those people now? Are they apologizing, admitting how wrong they were? No. So there's something to be what you said there. VTech Moonwalker was checking out. He had a bounce. Thanks for being there tonight, VTech. Gene, and this is the comment I wanted to get back up for Blake. Yeah, he just had to step off for a second. He's got a little one right off camera there. But Gene was saying, Blake, to the point, don't lose the skills your forefather and God gave you. And then we've got John reporting for duty from work. But John, thanks for joining us. But do you want to maybe just, and I know you're going to have to bounce here in a little bit. So maybe from the millstone perspective and just the preparedness, self-reliance, however you want to phrase it, maybe address Gene's kind of comment there about not losing the skill,
Absolutely. Gene, I think you were even in the episode where we were talking about it in Camo and Nav, where Mark brought up a really great point where, celestial navigation, terrain navigation, these sorts of things, land nav aren't being taught anymore. We're relying on technology. I don't want to go too far off on this tangent, but we are relocating our understanding of things to machines and tools because we built them and they made life simpler. If we look at what our ancestors, our forefathers gave us, it was at minimum 10,000 years of handed down knowledge, explanations on what to eat, what not to eat, how to move around the world, whether it was daytime, nighttime, on the sea or otherwise, how to build structures, how to create healthy and stable societies. And we now look at the ancestors as how primitive, how beneath us, how misunderstanding and foreign their concepts were, and how
backwards
we are. Backwards, because how we can now split the atom and speak through the microchip. Like, it's hubris that's going to cause our downfall. And we're seeing this now. I mean, the younger generations have no idea how to use legacy technologies. The older generations have no idea how to use the young technologies. There's an interchange that's taking place where communication is breaking down. This complex society is breaking down. Our legacy infrastructure that was built by the previous generations isn't even going through the most basic of a maintenance anymore, because either your townships, cities, or otherwise don't want to spend the money on painting the damn bridges. So everything's breaking down. Everything is way more complex than our current education system and society is capable of maintaining. So we are, in my humble opinion, I think, leading towards a cascade event. And that's why we need to look back at to what's happened before us and re-embrace those old skills and really try to harness them to the best of our ability, because how we're talking to each other right now, it takes one major X-class CME solar flare to shut it down. And then all of your digital assets, if not properly protected, they're gone. All that information is gone. You're starting back from square zero. You know, we talked about this concept once before. I'm afraid that if something catastrophic happened like that, I think it's a wild shot. It's unlikely, but let's say it does. Best case scenario, you're going to have small groups of individuals that are able to maintain like westward expansion levels of technology. But the vast majority of humanity that survives, they're back in the Stone Age. So
if I don't even think the vast majority survive, but we'll save that.
The vast majority that survive.
That does. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, anyway.
Hey, a couple comments here that go along with what you're just talking about. Learn me something. Hey, nice to see you over here tonight. We became slaves to technology and instantaneous gratification. That's it. Yeah. And,
well said.
And, again, going back into the meme world, you see this meme, the urbanites and the, the ivory tower types, like to make fun and call us, Jethros and, and Hicks and hillbillies and rednecks. But, hey, I don't give a fuck about your PhD in basket weaving or whatever crap. That isn't going to put food on your table. That isn't going to help you. And so the meme I was thinking about was from, a few years ago from another hurricane, and here it is, you got the redneck Navy and all, whatever it's called. And
Cajun Navy.
Cajun Navy. And the meme is like, all of your lawyers and this and that, can't get any of this shit done, and then here's these guys getting shit done, to your point.
Sometimes you just got to roll up your sleeves, man. Like, and that's the thing is we're finding more and more that that's what it takes. We just got to fix the problems ourselves because Big Daddy government ain't going to help.
Oh, heck no. And the Carolinas, Helene is clear example. And look, conspiracy theory away. Is it being done intentionally? We'll come join us on Millstone on Monday. We'll talk about that. Gene is saying, and when the power goes out, legacy skills come. Damn right. That's what we're talking about, Gene. You're nailing it, sir. Paul chiming in. Hey, I think this is better call, Paul. Nice. BCP. Good to see you again, brother. Lesson learned from, and he's in that area. Lesson learned from North Carolina. We need remote caches. You could have years of supplies and food for emergency and then have it washed away in one day. Well, that is, don't putting all your eggs in one basket type of thing. And, whether it's your ammunition, your foodstuffs, I mean, that's just good, smart thinking, if you've got the ability to do it. Yeah. And matter of fact, Blake, we've talked about this. We should maybe do, once we get through this election cycle and whatever crazy is going to happen, we'll do an episode over on Millstone and I'll show people how to do caches. My cache experience is a little bit different. It's, military in nature, but it has a lot more to do with like, the paramilitary side, the agency side, but caches are caches, right? So, you just, some items you just got to like protect a little bit differently, but
that'll be a really fun one because there's a lot of modern tech things that you can augment with as well that make it pretty cool. So
yeah,
that'll be a really fun conversation.
Yeah. So we'll do that over on Millstone. And then finally, Gene kind of coming in with one more, not so backward and old skills, more advanced as they knew power would give in one day. Well, to your point, and Blake, I'll give you that because I know you got to bounce, but maybe that last comment on your side to Gene's comment. It's not really, like, oh, those people are so backward. It ain't so backwards now, is it? Or when this next thing happens, because there always will be a next thing, whether it's natural disaster, whether it's celestial, whether it's man-made, but something else is definitely going to happen again. That's like one of the only things that you can, besides the sun rising in the east and setting in the west, some of the only things that you can count on. It's like, because we're humans and we are frail and we live on a planet that's, rotating around a giant thermonuclear reactor. And when that thing burps or farts, and that's just what happened earlier this week, they had a couple more CMEs, now they weren't as bad and they missed us, but, that does have interference. And Blake, to that point, no one's talking about that Verizon outage from a week ago as well. A week that's at about 10 days now, just another little thing. So there's a lot of what Gene's point, and then I'll turn it over to you for your last comments on that. Yeah, it's not so backwards now, is it?
No, it's not. And that's the thing. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. All of these things are a certain amount of they're probability. All right. And some are more likely to happen and some are less likely to happen. But ultimately, if enough time passes and the systems exist for long enough, eventually these things will become an inevitability. And you know, to the point of like the CME, because that's really kind of the big kill shot. And I shouldn't really speak too specifically on this because it's been a little while since I've gone through this, but the Carrington event was like an X47. It was a massive solar flare. We just had an X9, which actually look out your window tonight. If you're up north, you might see some great solar activity going on with the Aurora Borealis. That's supposedly going to happen this evening. But if that was something like a Carrington event, it's gone right away. Like power's out, communication's done, your refrigeration's gone. You can't bring water into your house if you live in a city. Your elevators are shut down. Medical facilities are torched. Like it really is one
electronic door locks aren't, you know, your card key, none of that.
Crippled. And that's the thing is we know that, and not necessarily a CME. All right. I don't want to like say that that's the big one, but if you look through the historical record, nations fall, changes happen, entire power dynamics shift across the globe into new ways of thinking. Like this is just the cyclic rate of humanity. This is the wheel that we all live on. So if you're looking at what's going on right now and all of the various different factors that are playing towards the stress in the greater system, it stands a reasonable assumption that something could potentially happen. So again, just prepare as best as you can and build the community as best as you can. And I actually would tend to say the community aspect's almost more important than having 100 caches set across 20 acres. Because like we just saw, and like Paul just said, it could get washed away in a second. And then you're going, well, crap, I need help. So...
Well, but having caches and not having all your eggs in one basket is still a damn good idea. I mean,
don't not do it 100%, but there's other ways to expand that survivability chance. And I mean, let's be honest, that's the big goal of humanity, right? It's survival and procreation. I mean, it's passing on to the next generation, whether it's intelligence, whether it's actually with your genetics is irrelevant. The point is we are trying to take that beacon of civilization and go, here you go. You know, we don't want to see that fall. And that's kind of one of the things right now. It reminds me of that old Chinese curse or Chinese proverb of may you be, what is it? May you live in interesting times. Well, we're in those interesting times right now. Don't take it from me. Just go look through the historical record and then kind of examine what all is taking place simultaneously right now. And honestly, give me a retort. Give me a challenge to that. We're not in interesting times right now because things are
you can't
fast.
If you don't think we're in interesting times right now, you can't even keep up. Again, we didn't, not that this was the place to talk about it. We'll talk about Millstone, but I just mentioned that Verizon outage from about 10 days ago. What about the cyber attack against that water? That main water filtration hub. That happens during a time of a natural disaster where there's already issues with clean, fresh water. Like you just said, Blake, may you live in interesting times, you know?
And on that note, though, I got to go.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I'll holler at you later. Thanks for jumping in tonight. And then, go say hi to the little one and the missus. And then I'll probably just holler. I don't know if I'll holler at you tonight, but I'll give you a call tomorrow for sure.
Sounds good, brother. And thanks everybody for letting me listen to me prattling on a bit. So we'll talk to you guys later.
All right. See you, man. All right. Just to kind of wrap it up here, 48 minutes. We'll just kind of take it out on some different notes. Here's a comment. Uncle Sugar abandoned his family for a new one. If anyone, I don't know if you get it. And I think it's the same use, but so we used to always refer to the government as Uncle Sugar, right? Because Uncle Sugar's got all the money and all the funding. But Learn Me Something just said, he just abandoned his family, us, for a new one. And it does kind of seem to feel that way, doesn't it? Hey, here's your 750, oh, but you've got to, go online to even request it. Well, how in the fudge am I going online to request the meager $750 in aid when I don't have any power and communications, you jackass? I mean, what a bunch of chuckwagons. And then He's gone now, but I'll still throw it up there. Learn me something, saying good night to Blake, and thanks. So thanks for throwing it in there. Learn me something. Hey, kind of final comments here. So hey, we might make this one under an hour for once. So I already showed off the meat bags. I'm just going to do it one more time. So these are what's going to go to Alex tomorrow. I got to do, I'll do a standalone loadout video on the meat bag. I'll do that tomorrow. I'm also going to do a video on our little ruck. I think I'm just going to call it our little ruck. I kind of like it. It's our little ruck. But I'll do those 2 videos tomorrow and get those posted, over the next couple of days. I'm going to get these over to Alex Messenger so I can get some photos. Now, the photos on the website initially will probably just be my crappy photos, but I'll have that video so you get a good loadout and get a better understanding of the product. And then Alex will get me photos. So here's one in wolf gray with black. That looks pretty badass. I like that. Here's the classic Ranger green and Ranger green and coyote brown. And just so you see, there's a little tie downs on the bottom where you could put, a jacket, a tarp, ground cloth for your picnic. Here's one in multicam black. Yeah. And then I guess I've got permission to say this. So this one is going to, well, you've seen him over here before, Steven. Steven's going to make, well, first I got to get him. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but if it can be done, Steven is going to handcraft some of these in leather. So that's going to be, so just stay tuned. That'll be next business day once we get them done. But we kind of decided like, hey, this would be a good pouch and this would be really cool in leather. So just stay tuned on that. I think we had a quick question. Okay. Our little ruck has a ring to it and ATAX for the win. I don't know if I'll do a ruck in ATAX. I guess, look, I'm going to have to do a standalone video on what the custom side of the house is going to look like, just like I did on the next business day. And I'll have some more answers on that. I'm hopefully going to be able to figure something out this weekend. I don't want to make it so cumbersome for people, but I can't just have anyone ordering because, and this will be more clear. And again, 2 weeks from now, when we talk about the VA, I'll kind of let you know a little bit about what's going on with me, but it's going to slow some things down. I'll just say that for right now. So I've really got to be, and more importantly to what Blake and I were just talking about, I believe what we're talking about. I mean, I think you might need some gear more than you need a TV or anything right now. So I want to keep these lead times as small as possible so we can get as much gear out in the hands of the people who want it and need it as quickly as we can. But I'll go into that a little bit more on the standalone video for the custom side. And I've got 2 things I've got to dabble in tomorrow and Saturday to see, because if I can make this work on the website, it might make it easier for everybody, but still give me the ability to control things. Because as I said before, and I'll show it in a second, our little ruck, the OLR, that's a day. That takes a day to make one of those things. So, and there's not a lot of margins. I'm not selling this for what I really need to sell it for, because people would be like, oh my God, that's just so much money. So it's kind of more of not necessarily a loss lead, we'll make some money off it, but I just can't, take 5 days out of 5 days making 5 rucksacks and then having $250 in my pocket. That's unsustainable. But so just stay tuned on that. I'll have more information on that. And then, cause I'm going to talk about, so even though I'm not carrying some colorways, and I've already had some people reach out to me about this, and I'll just say to everybody right now. So there are companies out there where it's more expensive to buy it just by the yard, right? And but there are a couple companies that offer real Kadura brand 500 denier mil spec, and you can get it by the yard. And ATAX AU is one of the patterns I could get. So if somebody is interested, even though I'm probably not going to, buy 100 yards of that anymore, but if somebody wants it, or if you want, it's the same with webbing. There's a handful of companies that actually do mil spec 17337, and you can get it by the foot. And it kind of works sometimes, because sometimes you need single side, sometimes you need double side, but I'll make that a little bit more clear. Right now, I'm kind of probably muddying the waters, but I'll make that more clear in the standalone video for the custom side, because that's something we're going to just start. If you want to do it, I'll look into it and do the research and then get back to you. Here's how much that's going to cost. I don't make any money off of that anyway. So, for example, when you're getting camo, you know, anything in camo, you see that upcharge. That's just the difference in the cost. That's just me. I can't give this away at the same cost of a solid color. I'm just charging you what the difference is to me for that camouflage pattern. You know, not making any money off of that. Anyway, that'll be more in that video. What was I just going to do? Oh, well, I just showed that off again. Might as well. This is the new version. Might just have to be a shitty picture or two from my phone. We're trying to find the old files so we don't have to duplicate it, but then we might have to duplicate it. That's the utility pouch. That'll be up there next week. And then speaking of the AU, and then this is the one I'm going to use for the videos that we'll shoot tomorrow. It's going to be a fun loadout video. And then last but not least, give me a sec. And no, this isn't full. It's just stuffed with a couple whoobies. But yep. So thank you to everybody who participated in the charity auction for the Seymour Young Marines. Very successful. We raised $500. And then on Saturday, so I talked to Murphy just a little while ago. We're good to go for them to do the live stream from their drill, from where the Young Marines are going to be located. And so we're going to do this at 12 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Daylight Time. We'll be live on Saturday, the 12th of October. So that's just a couple days from now. And then we'll do the drawing, you know, the wheel of death. Here's how many, you know, tickets are sold. And then we'll make the announcement, and winner chicken dinner gets one of the OLRs, our little ruck, the one and only, in this awesome legacy frog skin. Yeah, shit, just that's just, we're gonna be really cool. So, you know, I wish everybody luck, you know, and everybody who purchased tickets, luck to everybody. We'll be doing that Saturday. That'll be a fun live stream. Hopefully you can join us. And then, you know, again, you know, if you are watching it and if you're the winner, you know, but I've got your information, and I'll probably just call the winner and let everybody know. But there it is right there. Tadpoles. From Gene, tadpoles for the win. Yeah, tadpoles. Yeah, you got some tickets too, Gene. You're in the running for a tadpole. All right, boys and girls, a little under an hour. I'm pretty beat here today, so I'm going to wrap it up with one last thing, though, just because I'm an idiot. One of Bender's my favorite lines from Bender. All right. Hey, if you got questions, comments, reach out. And again, I really appreciate everybody who sent me nice messages. There's been one or two people who sent me mean messages, but you know, whatever, you do you, right? You know, whatever, you know. I'll have some more videos coming out here. You know, the rucksack, I'll do a loadout video on the ruck. I'll do the loadout video on the meat bag, post those up. I got to do a standalone video on what the custom is going to look like. We're going to open that up on Monday. Also Monday of next week. So right now we've got Chuck Norris, Good Guys Wear Black, for the next business day. And then Monday of next week, I'm going to switch that over to Nemesis. That'll run, you know, for the week or whatever until it sells out, however that works, whatever comes first. And then I'm not 100% sure about that following week. So I got some bad news. I still do not have my new 1-inch Ranger Green 17337 and that darker green, which means, and with tomorrow, Friday, you know, even if it ships tomorrow, the earliest I'm going to get it is Wednesday of next week. And that's just going to be really tight to get everything cut and so on. So I'm going to have to make a decision this weekend for what the colorway for the third week of the next business day. So once we're done with the Nemesis, because I've got to start cutting that this weekend and getting it prepped, and we got to start sewing it next week. So I'm right now, and don't quote me on this, but I still have some wolf gray. I'm thinking I'm just going to do a run. I'm going to do wolf gray with black because I'm not going to carry wolf gray again. It's just really hard to get, and I have to buy it in way too large of a quantity. And it's just, look, I like it as a color, but it just isn't that popular of a color. But I like it, and we'll probably do, you know, a run of that for that third week of the next business day. Unless there's some miracle on 54th Street happens and, you know, all my Ranger Green shows up tonight or tomorrow or something like that. But just stay tuned. I'll keep everybody posted. You know, holler if you got questions. You know the deal. I'll do the best I can to help you out. Last little note, never talked to this gentleman before. He gave me a call before we were kind of going live. His name is John. Really just squared away, dude. It was fun. You know, and all of you are like this. And my joke was, we're sitting there talking and he's asking some really good questions and we're just having a conversation. And I'm like, damn it, now I want to go open a beer and just sit and bullshit with you a while longer, but I got the live stream to do. So all of you great men and women are like that. I just really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then a huge shout out to John, whether he shops with us or not, that's up to him, but it was a great conversation. And so I just really appreciate it. So thanks again to all you guys for watching these lives and supporting the company and what we're trying to do. And last little note and what we're trying to do. So unfortunately the swamp green hoodie is showing up tomorrow. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to wear it for tonight. That's showing up tomorrow. So I think the hoodies will be on the website by middle of next week. There's one thing I got to figure on that, but I think middle of next week, we'll have hoodies up on the website. We're still moving forward with the hats. That actually kind of took a turn for the better. So I just got to talk to Clint. But I think we're going to be okay on the hats. But hoodies should be up on the website next week. And then I was talking to Steven about this. And then again, limited profits on those things. We're not trying to make money, just try to get that out there. But what profits we do make from those, we're going to end up donating them for the first 30 days to either Samaritan's Purse or the GoFundMe that Trump set up for the victims and the families and survivors out there from Helene. So stay tuned for that. And that's all I got. So thank you very much. Reach out anytime. Until then, you know the deal, boys and girls. Get them ready, Gene. Keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. All right, everybody, be good. We'll see you again soon. All right, until then, woo! I like the woos. I don't know where that started, but woo! I like it. Thanks, guys.